Good morning, and welcome to my podcast, Between the Lines. Today, I will be interviewing Lexi Garman. She is a young adult author, and she took part in a contest hosted by Rich Kopacz, my co-host, and they were given 4 prompts to choose from so they could run with it and create their own story based off of that. And she won the contest. So we're going to talk to her. She will be joined by her father, which I think is great because as a young adult, you should have that for sure. I definitely would want that if somebody asked my children to be on a podcast. So get ready, hold on to your hats, grab your favorite cup of tea. This one's mine. Which reminds me, I do need to return some videotapes. And welcome, Lexi. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to my podcast, Between the Lines. I'm your host, Jeanette Huffman, and my co-host is over there, Rich Kopacz. Say hello, Rich. Today, drum roll, please. Today, we will be interviewing young author Lexi Garman. Rich, you might want to walk us through this because this was your contest.
Sure. With my book, Daughter of God, it's in the 5th century BC Persia. And, I'm not making that world up. I have to research it. So I got so immersed in it. That's kind of became my obsession. So I started a creative writing contest based in, all the stories had to be based in 5th century BC Persia. And did you get that flyer I sent, Jeanette?
I did. That was wonderful. How do you come up with these ideas? I mean, no, I know, but it just seems like every time we have a podcast, Rich has got some other thing that he has going on that I'm completely unaware of. Well, we know you don't sleep, so there's that.
That's true. So, I thought, this would be a fun way to get people involved and meet new writers and stuff. And I had been working a lot actually with Lexi and a bunch of other students at Calvary Preparatory Academy, an online school, and doing their radio drama club because they're all from all parts. Like Lexi, you're in California, right?
Yep.
And I'm in Michigan, and I know there's some of the students are in Florida, and some of the students are in the Midwest. So you can't get together on stage for a drama club, but you can get together on a Zoom and just do a radio play. So having done voice work and having allowed the students to do a lot of their own writing, I was like, yeah, this would be cool. I want to see what people come up with. So I sent out the prompts and I got a wonderful story from Lexi, who won the contest with, it's called Tragic Circumstances and True Love.
I loved it. In fact, when I looked through your prompts early this morning, because Lexi and I were in California, so this is the bum crack of dawn over here. But when I looked through them, I had to wonder, Lexi, why did you, because I know for me, Rich, and you've got to know which one I would have chosen.
Oh.
The shipwreck.
Yeah.
So Lexi, why did you choose that prompt?
I'm not completely sure. I think I just really like the whole getting to write about how even though in like the hardest situations, people are able to find a way to come together. And it's cool to be able to add all those different details of like what it's like and what could happen. And there's so many other chances for like what if.
I like that. You're so, and maybe this is a bad thing to say, you're so young. You're younger than my children. And not by much. My daughter's 22 and my son is 18. But I remember at your age, which, weirdly enough, Rich and I were your age once. I know it's hard to believe, but I was always a writer. But it was interesting that you could put your thoughts together so well like that.
Mhm.
because I was kind of all over the place
It
at
was
that point.
impressive. It was an impressive, pretty mature outlook at young love.
That's
Um,
what I thought. Yeah.
yeah. So Lexi chose the more romantic of the stories, and like she said, she wanted to explore, trying to get two people together in the most extreme circumstances, with everything working against them. Um, had you written anything like that before? Do you normally write romance stories?
So I don't usually have a lot of time to take time to write stories, so the short story that I did was kind of like my first big one.
Mm,
But actually when I do like fan fictions and stuff, I do tend to try to include the romance kind of side of it too, because I just feel like it's really fun to try to dive into all that stuff.
mhm.
Tell
Yeah.
us about the fan fiction. What's going on with that?
I am into a lot of like different movies, shows, and book series, and so me and my friends, well, one of my friends in particular, she got me into a role-playing fan fiction over a group chat,
Mhm.
and that one's based on like Harry Potter, and so we're taking all the different characters and we're making our own characters, and yeah, it's a lot of crazy random things that are going on.
So much fun, though. So Harry Potter. So now I got to ask Jeanette: have you ever written fan fiction?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I'm gonna have to Google that one because I'm not even fan fiction. So
Yeah. It's if you've written anything that would be considered part of the canon of something that's already established,
okay.
not a world that you came up with.
No, I haven't. I have too many weird worlds in my brain.
Right. Like Linda, who did Mad Alice.
Okay.
That considered fan fiction to the Alice in Wonderland world.
Most of mine are paranormal related, historical fiction.
Your fan fiction is history.
It is. It
Yeah.
is. I love history.
And I did a zombie apocalypse story for How to Train Your Dragon.
Oh my gosh. I see you have where are all of these stories? Did you just have them?
They're around.
Okay.
We've been on this planet for 5 decades.
Me too. 4 decades and 7 years.
This is so typical of us. We're so far afield already. We're like,
I know. Let's jump back in.
so Lexi, wonderful story. I was really impressed with how well you treated the tension between them. And there is a moment that I thought was just outstanding because it's innocent, but it's intimate, and it really shows what you're capable of. There was a great moment where the two main characters who are in love are trying to get away, and they are in a secret passageway, and it's dark, and they hear a noise. And we are told the story through Pasha, the young girl's viewpoint. And at one point, she wants to say something, and she feels the boy, Ayuk, she feels his fingers on her mouth silencing her. And it's in the dark, and you really take us there in that scene. It's such an intimate little scene, and it happens so naturally, but it's so effective to show the bond between the two of them and the excitement of just young love. I was really impressed.
Yeah, thank you. I will say, however, I was not the only one who worked on this short story, but the friend who helped me is asking to remain anonymous. But yeah, she definitely helped me with editing, so I won't take all the credit here, but yeah, thank you.
So
Well,
that's no problem at all. We don't write on an island. Like, we talk to people and we get feedback from people, and there are all sorts of brainstorming sessions that go on with other people.
Yeah.
Tell us about yourself and your writing, and just tell us about you.
Okay. Well, like I said earlier, I don't do a lot of writing usually, so however, I usually am into singing, and I like to do acting. And that's why I joined the Radio Drama Club and how I met Mr. Rich. And so, yeah, I do a lot of singing, acting, radio drama, and I'm trying to learn how to play the bass, and that's fun when I get to it.
Can you sing something for us, or am I putting you on the spot?
Like what kind of song? Do you have a specific Disney recommendation?
Yes, if you're okay, yeah. The one from Tangled. All those days chasing down a daydream. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All those years chasing down a daydream. All those years outside looking in. Standing here, it's all so clear. I'm where I'm meant to be.
That was wonderful. Thank you for sharing that with us.
That's
Yeah.
my favorite movie.
When Madison was younger, we would sit and watch all the Disney princess movies. That was our thing. Either that or horror movies, which is a little, odd. So what was your, in your story, favorite moment, and why was that your favorite?
Honestly, I think my favorite part to write would have been the very beginning of the story, like how it went into the immediate tension, because I really liked being able to add all the different thoughts that Pasha was having, and I also really liked being able to figure out a way to explain the setting and the characters in that first 2 paragraphs or so, and also like how the world was at that moment. That was definitely one of my favorite parts. Also, along with the part when they are in the dark tunnel, I really liked writing that one too. That one was fun.
It feels like you like to immerse yourself into it. Like in your brain, you're there.
Yeah.
Rich, that's just what writers do, I guess. That sounds like that's a commonality over. It seems like no one I've talked to that is a genuine writer says, yeah, no, I just write things. I don't feel any of it.
The good writers immerse themselves. That opening, by the way, the opening scene is fantastic. And you're right. I mean, it's an incredibly effective way to bring us into the world. And it was a very dramatic scene because right away there's tension and her life is in danger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same time, we're figuring it out and we're meeting the other characters. It was a great, powerful opening.
I think so too. I mean, the king, you could imagine him just kind of sitting there like, why are you late? I liked that. In my mind, you could hear like the jostling and the people moving around and someone settling and just going, oh, what's going to happen? He's mad. That was very good.
Yeah. So I don't know if Lexi, I think I told you, but following our interview, like tacked on to the podcast will be your story.
Okay.
And I'll just give you a preview of the king's voice. Why are you late, Pasha?
That's gonna be awesome.
Rich does wonderful work on these audio scenes.
That's awesome.
How did it feel to win the contest?
I will say I was really excited, honestly, because I was kind of scared I wasn't gonna win because the word limit was scaring me towards the end. I will say that the word count was never something I expected would be a difficulty for me, because I used to not be a reader or a writer at all. So only a couple years ago did I start reading and writing things and actually enjoying it.
Mhm.
So the word count was definitely a kind of like, I'm already running out of words. When did this happen?
Yeah.
But yeah, I was definitely super excited about that.
That's cool.
Word count can be brutal.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
yeah, I mean, look, you're young, so having started only a couple of years ago, of course. Yeah, that's about right. And you have a gift.
I totally agree. Just the fact that you could jump right in, and this is like your first short story. You've got talent. Like,
Thank you.
You should, if you want to. I mean, do whatever makes you happy in life. That's what we have to. We have one little moment on this earth. If that's what makes you happy, you're amazing. You're gonna do wonderful.
You may end up falling in love with playing bass. So that
You very well could. Oh yeah.
for Jeanette and
Funny.
I, we're like, well, we just want to recruit all great writers. So
Yes.
we will always be on our radar. We'll be always
Yes.
find out if you're writing something.
Definitely. Little sleuths out there. Which now
Yeah.
that sounds kind of creepy, Rich. We're not stalkers, I promise.
Definitely not.
What do you hope that readers take away from this story that you've written?
I'm actually not sure how to answer that question, because that wasn't like what I had in mind while I was writing the story, because I was kind of just writing the story to see what I was capable of and to see where my mind would go with the different storylines and stuff. And so I will say I was not expecting many people to actually read this short story, but I think one thing would probably be just that I know it's not tied into the storyline or anything, but that anyone can like try to write and see what they're actually capable of with their different talents.
100%. 100%.
Yeah, so have you gotten like, because I only know the feedback I've gotten from the people, I've showed it around too, but like how have you, like, does your family read your work? Do your friends read it? Have you gotten any feedback?
Yeah, kind of. So I had my parents read it before I submitted it, and I'm pretty sure they really liked it. Yeah. And I also got to show my grandma and my grandpa, I'm pretty sure, and I think a couple of my cousins, but I'm pretty sure they were super excited that I won the contest too. So I haven't got that much feedback on how my story was other than my parents, but I think I did pretty good on it.
Well, you'll definitely get a lot more people that will at least hear your story out there because of this podcast. So that's pretty cool. And you'll be able to see the comments based on that. So keep your eyes peeled for that. I'm curious, do you have any writers in your family? Like, are you the first one or?
I'm not sure. I don't think so.
I think you'd know.
So
Yeah.
what's next for you?
I'm not sure. I think over the summer I'm probably just gonna try to see what kind of catches my thoughts and just be like, I want to go in that direction. Also, now that I think about it, I'm going to be setting up a D&D one-shot, so there will be a lot of story writing in that.
Yeah, very creative outlet.
Yes.
That's cool. I have a good friend of mine, and she's into D&D too, and she's always telling me all these different things. I'm like, that's actually pretty cool. When I was younger, there was a group of us back in the late 90s that they did D&D, and it looked like role playing. It looked kind of like role playing, which is super cool because you're writing a story, but you're writing it while you're doing it.
I'm thrilled to hear that you have kind of an open-ended near future, because I'm going to ask you if you would be interested in doing some voice work for our audio scenes.
Ooh, I'll definitely talk to my parents about it and see if I can. I would love to. That would definitely be something I would want to do.
Yeah, please. It doesn't take long because they're only like 10-minute scenes, so it's not like doing a whole hour-long show or anything. We don't even rehearse. We just kind of run through a couple of times on a Monday night, and that's it. You know, the rest of it is just me doing editing.
Okay.
So yeah, they're short scripts. We usually meet at Monday nights. Because you're in California, it'd be about 6 p.m.
Okay.
And yeah, we know it, and we'll put you in the cast of people available.
Okay. Yeah, thank
That's
you.
awesome. That's
I'll
awesome.
definitely think about it and look into it.
Is there anything that you would like to say to the viewers that are watching this right now?
Not sure.
Takeaway, I think, her takeaway of, hey, get out there and try this. Try playing guitar. Try, get out there and see what you're capable of. I liked how she put that. Get out there and see what you're capable of.
I love that. Yeah.
I've known Lexi for a couple of years. She is wonderful. She is a blessing. She is just a blessing to work with and to have fun with at the school, and then to just see her thrive in this field. I'd love to see more work from her. And it was great to have you on the show. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yes,
thank you.
Thank you very much.
Oh, I didn't expect company tonight. No, please stay comfortable. That sandstorm will last most of the night. Have something to drink and eat. What shall we do to pass the time? Tell a story? I suppose I could. I do know enough of them. But what are you in the mood for? A good ghost story? No? What about adventure? Or a story of terrible vengeance? Or a curse that... No? I know. You want to hear about Pasha and Ayuk, a story of forbidden love and two young hearts who would risk everything to be together. Very well, I shall tell the story. Stoke that fire and listen, for our story begins in fire itself. Pasha sighed as she thought, here comes another day. She smelled the fire from the torches. When would it be over? Every week she was forced to participate in the fire dance in front of their evil King Zeverick. He makes everything go his way. We are all forced to dance, forced to stay here, forced to do anything. We have to do anything he says or else. While Pasha was still grumbling to herself, her complaints were stopped short by her name being yelled. She looked around her and spotted the performers standing on the stage. The fire dance had started. She ran up to the performing floor. When she didn't hear the music start, she looked around to find that all eyes were staring in fear at the throne. When she looked up to the throne, she saw that the king was glaring at her. "Pasha, why are you late?" King Zevrik asked, fuming. Pasha, now scared of how late she actually was, stuttered, I was doing my hair, King Zevrik." "And why wasn't it done sooner?" Suddenly, a voice she didn't recognize cut her off from the midst of the performers. "She was helping me, my lord." Pasha looked over, confused to see that the voice she heard came from Ayuk, the handsome young man and another of the performers, one that she had been admiring from afar. Why would someone who had nothing to do with her punishment stand up for her in front of the king? "What could you possibly need help with, Ayuk?" asked the king. "Because you, of all people, should know the law. No interaction with other slaves." As Zevrik said the word slaves, his gaze swept over the performers with disdain. "My apologies, Your Highness. I was looking for my flint and pyrite, but couldn't find them, so I asked Pasha if I could borrow hers." Fine. I suppose you would need those." The king replied, wondering if it were true, but his tone shifted as he continued, "But if this ever happens a second time, you will never again continue in the fire dance, or anything else. Do you understand?" As the words left King Zevrik's mouth, Pasha noticed the look of discomfort highlighting Queen Elithra's beautiful face. Queen Elithra was also forced to do something. The hardest thing. She was forced to marry King Zevrik. "Yes, sire." Ayuk bowed his head to the king. "Well, what are you waiting for? Start the dance now," King Zevrik commanded, smirking in a way that suggested he was hoping that another mistake would happen, that he would be able to hurt someone. After the hour-long dance, the performers filed their way backstage. Pasha decided that the only way to show her appreciation was to place herself behind Ayuk. Her heart ached to stare into those deep, beautiful green eyes and tell him how thankful she was. But she couldn't risk them getting punished, or worse. So she decided to gently whisper in his ear, "Thanks." Pasha saw Ayuk nod lightly, and she silently prayed that the two of them didn't draw any attention to themselves. The next couple of nights, Pasha continued to wonder why Ayuk would stand up for her. I mean, he has been serving the king the longest. Why would he risk his life for little old useless me? If anything, he is probably the only one who has a chance of getting a good job later in his life. Pasha's eyes shot open. What if... No, it couldn't possibly be because of that. A smile slowly spread across her face. Does Ayuk love me? She whispered. Over the next few weeks, she found herself thinking about his beautiful green eyes, his short and slightly curly dark brown hair, and most of all, how he had chosen to save her. The next week she noticed that her gaze kept lingering on Ayuk, and how he also looked at her every once in a while. She couldn't stop thinking about him, and that's when she realized, I love him too. But what chance would either of them have together? It's not as if they could talk to each other, especially not about how they felt. Then it struck her. What if we did meet together, hidden, alone, just the two of us? But where? When? How? That next week, Pasha tried to figure out how she could not only sneak away with Ayuk, but also how to tell him that she had a plan. She couldn't write a note because she had never learned how to write or spell. She couldn't talk to him directly. She had already risked a lot to say thank you. She had to figure out something, but what? Unable to think of a way to explain to Ayuk that she loved him, Pasha decided to wait until the next fire performance to come up with a plan. The dance started off like any other. Another performer, Lyra, started the dance front and center, doing the most extreme flips, twirls, and everything in between. Then Maroke, the youngest and newest of the male performers, did his fire-blowing routine on the right side of the stage. Then, when it came to the end of the dance, Pasha performed her part on the left side. After the dance, all of the performers walked backstage, single file. Then Pasha heard someone's voice, a quiet whisper. Meet me in the practice room tonight. Not knowing who said that, she carefully peeked behind her to see Ayuk giving her a slight smile. She quickly turned her head back and faced forward, smiling to know that she wasn't the only one, trying to find a way for them to meet together, alone, just the two of them. Pasha was so ecstatic that she almost lost track of time. Thankfully, though, when her dinner was placed at her door, she remembered. She always got her dinner around 7:30. It wasn't much, but it was just enough to keep her alive. Tonight her plate held a bit of mashed potatoes and 2 leaves of lettuce. But as soon as she finished it, she stood up and put on her darkest clothes, which were just a couple of dark brown rags. She peeked out her door to see if there were any guards coming through, and when she was sure that no one was around, she started to sneak towards the practice room. It was helpful that it was only 5 doors from her small empty room, but there was still the risk of a guard walking by and Pasha getting caught. Thankfully, though, she was not seen or heard. When she made it to the practice room, she saw Ayuk sitting against the wall waiting for her. When Ayuk saw Pasha, his face lit up, and he jumped to his feet and rushed over to her. You made it, and no one caught you, Ayuk said with so much excitement, but still quiet enough that no one would hear them. Pasha chuckled. Yeah, I guess I did. Then she realized that this would be the perfect time to show Ayuk her thanks for saving her. Oh, I wasn't able to Suddenly, Ayuk cut her off. Wait, he paused. I think I hear someone. Follow me. Ayuk then grabbed Pasha's wrist and started leading her towards the back of the room. He started feeling along the wall, muttering to himself urgently, Where is it? Come on, come on. All of a sudden, his hand slipped into a crevice in the stone wall. Then he pushed his hand in, twisted it, and pulled. Instantly, a hidden passageway opened, and Ayuk pulled Pasha through the entrance and told her to stay silent. She pushed herself up against the wall of the dark passageway and waited, listening for whatever Ayuk heard. Then she heard it. A guard, and he was about to open the door to the fire dance practicing room. The passageway was so dark that she couldn't even see her own hand in front of her face, and she was just depending on her other senses to know what was going on around her. It was humid. She could smell dust. The walls were warm, and all she could hear was the closing of the hidden door and the opening of the training room door. She didn't know how difficult it was to close the secret passageway door, but it was feeling like he should be finished. Is he okay? Does he need my help? Should I do something? As she opened her mouth, she let out a quiet breath, about to ask Ayuk if he wanted her to help with anything. Then she felt his hand rest on her mouth, silently telling her, wait just a couple more seconds. Pasha waited. Then after about a minute, she heard the guard leave the practicing room. Both Ayuk and Pasha sighed a breath of relief. Are you okay? Ayuk asked quietly. She nodded, then remembered that they were still in the dark, so she said, Yes, thank you. Ayuk sighed again. Good. We have to go somewhere that we won't get caught. Follow me. Pasha heard his footsteps as he walked deeper into the passageway. Becoming scared and not being able to see where he was walking, she quietly stopped him. Wait, Ayuk, where are you going? She then heard his footsteps again. That's right. Sorry about that. I forgot that this was your first time in here. I'm down here quite often. I was the only person who knew about these tunnels, but now I'm not. Butterflies shot through Pasha as she felt her hand being held by Ayuk's. His hands were rough and calloused from all the years of fire dances, but despite the toughness of his hands, he had the most gentle touch she had ever felt. As he led her through the passageway, she tripped on small rocks and stones coming out of the ground, but every time she fell, Ayuk caught her. The passageway continued for about 5 minutes, but being with Ayuk made it worth it. She never would have thought that she could do this, but being with Ayuk made her feel like she could do anything. Lost in thought again, she didn't notice that Ayuk had stopped. She bumped into and fell on top of him. Whoa, are you okay? He asked. Oh, yeah, sorry about that. Pasha responded, glad that Ayuk couldn't see her blushing in the darkness. Here, let me help you up, Ayuk said as he helped Pasha stand back up. She felt a cold come in through one of the walls beside them, not having any experience with being or hearing anything about the world outside the palace. It felt like the breath of a giant coming through the cracks in the wall. She immediately looked to the right. What was that? What was what? He asked. The large breath. It came out of the cracks in this wall. Oh, that was just the wind. We made it to the end of the tunnel, so the wind tends to blow through here. The wind? What's that? Ayuk responded, Come on, let me show you. Pasha then heard Ayuk working to open another secret door in the wall. When he finished completely opening the hidden door, Pasha saw the sky for the first time in her life. She was awestruck. She had never seen anything as beautiful as what she was seeing then. The sky was a beautiful deep blue. The stars were shining brighter than any flame she had ever performed with. And the moon. The moon was the most incredible masterpiece ever created. It's beautiful, isn't it? She heard Ayuk say from beside her. All she could say was, "I've never seen anything like it." "Just wait, it gets even better. Want to see more?" He looked over at Pasha. She looked back at him as the moon cast a glow on his face. He was smiling at her. She nodded. "Yes, show me all of it, please." After that wonderful night with Ayuk, she never stopped thinking about the deep blue sky and Ayuk's deep green eyes. From then on, she met Ayuk outside the palace walls weekly, and they grew to love each other deeply. She knew all about Ayuk, and Ayuk knew all about Pasha. They were never caught, and eventually found a way to live a life of their own outside of the palace walls together.